Well, looky here, who's here? It's your old buddy Grandpaw Coyote again. Coming to you from a little different office here. This is my trucking office. This is where I go when I need to make money, as I go out and drive trucks up and down America's highways, haul taters and beans and hay and cattle and, you know, whatever they want to put on my truck. Get it on down the road. And sometimes I get stuck out here and gotta wait for a load, which is what I'm doing now. So I thought it'd be a good time to tune in together and send a little love on out into the universe once again. In our last transitional talk, we spoke of death and how it came into being and what it truly represented, you know, and how it's time now that we started to change all that and got out of the throes of death and back to life again. That's transition. That's coming out of the video game in which we live, more or less. This huge movie we're creating for ourselves. It's one hell of a script, and we're all doing pretty good acting jobs too. But to like finally come to the place where it says the end and the credits start to roll and we take off the costumes and the makeup and become ourselves again. That's the kind of transition we're going through. And it feels like death. It feels like dying. You know, right here in 2011, October 15 of 2011 to be exact, or 14, I don't know which day it is, but something like that by the Gregorian calendar, you know. And everybody's feeling it. When you get out here in the world running around and, you know, seeing that life's pretty much the same, if not a little worse than it was already, you kind of have the feeling that you ought to doubt what's going on inside and that this will never change, that it'll always be this way. But even as you start to think your way through that doubt, you see that change is the inevitable thing. It can't go on like this forever. It's been this way for far too long, and we've been pitted against one another and manipulated and controlled because of it. It's really a sad state of affairs, you know, that each one of us has to be in it for ourselves, and not just money-wise, but on all levels. You pretty much have to look out for old number one, or you wind up being number two, or at least getting number two all over you. You know what I mean? It's kind of a sad state of affairs. But when you understand the story of Quetzalcoatl and, you know, of what's gone on in the past and where all this comes from, you know, and that there is indeed this deep wound inside of us all, and we're just like feeling it. We were invaded, and we're feeling it. And the reason we were invaded, so that we could help other energies and lives transform, to come through the game they'd created for themselves. It didn't quite work out. So we come back and set the honey trap for them and picked them up inside of ourselves through this invasion. And yeah, there's some pretty dark beings, and things are pretty rough because of that. You know, when that first heart was cut out and death came into being, and all of these entities spread throughout the earth. We're talking thousands of years ago, folks, not like yesterday, though to some of us it does feel like yesterday. But that's what gave us all the heartache and pain that we've had to endure. And I don't care if you're rich or poor, you're just plain old middle class, or anything in between. Everybody deals with their levels of this agony. It's just part of the game, you know. It's humanity. So our transition now that we've completed our task with the invaders, which means we've finally coming to do what we came to do. And in the process, having gained the great richness of this experience we've called humanity and Mother Earth and life, having gained a new view of ourselves, we've understood that nobility in the most humble of parts of ourselves as well as the more extreme. To have tested ourselves on every level and to proven to ourselves that our soul can be joyful no matter what. That we can live through the greatest agonies and benefit from them. So now we can allow the greater bliss to transpire. In other words, become conscious of how happy we are with the act and job that we've done here in this life ever since we emoted from our mother's womb, and even before that. There's joy in every movement that we make. Through our long periods of separation from one another, through our long trials together, and everything in between. The wars, the heartaches, the insincerity that we deal with on a constant basis, the toughness of this reality. Baby, it's sweet to be able to live through it, to have taken on your share, and know that no matter what's been done, you've done well with it. We're not just a bunch of damn dreamers come here to fill in the blanks for a little while and then be gone and hand it on to the next generation and so on, even though that's what many of us feel like we've done. Being conscious, making the transition, is when we truly feel and understand that constant joy, that joyful presence within our being that tells us not only is it okay, alright, but that we're coming out of it clean because we know that we feel that. Then there's no more torment. There's no guilt, shame, no anger, no rage. Those things become a thing of this age. It's over, and now we're back here where we ought to be. This transition is difficult. It's tricky. Because we're so conditioned to live in our misery even when we're happy. We're so conditioned to always be on this path of self-improvement because we always feel inadequate no matter how much we've accomplished. And if we've accomplished a lot and made a name for ourselves in this world, even worse, because then you got something to live up to, you know? And you're always flailing yourself from inside. And I don't care who you are or how conscious you are of it. This is truth. This is how it works here. This is what bends us over and bleeds us and makes us die. Because we aren't aware of the constant joy that brings equity to every moment that we live, and equity to all forms of life, and actually, in a way, recreates the life. You see, it's like they have these legends about the inner earth, and that there's all these peaceful beings there, and life is beautiful and ever-presently happy, and shit, yeah, I told you about how I'd been there. It's like that's where we truthfully are as these actors in this play, this video game we call life. So becoming conscious, making the transition, is just stepping past the illusion and coming to know that this is our reality, that what we're doing here is a very cool thing. Despite all of the crap that we've created for ourselves to go through right from the pain of birth. Gosh, it's just nuts, you know? But it's so beautiful when you become conscious. And let me tell you, that I can see it happening in me. I know it's happening in you. The old burdens are becoming our blessings. This ache that we've carried inside is finding its resolution. The thing that kills us, usually, is bringing us back to life. And we've got nothing to worry about. We just got to get through it, kids. That's all. You know, these are the transitional times that everybody's waited for God knows generations. There's more to it. More. We can only discuss so much because it's a very personal thing for each person that lives. And it's time for you and I to go back inside of ourselves and see what's truthfully living there and embrace it. Because we know of the constant joy that it's been bringing us. Every bit of it, all of it. We're not alone in this game. Angels are surrounding us. E.T. family come to help. I mean, this earth is the focal point of the interest of the whole darn universe at the present time. 2011, 2012 coming up, etc. You know, and I know a lot of people are expecting catastrophes and disasters and all kinds of crap. But all it really is a change in perspective. A change in the way we feel and see things. We're putting away the shocking numbness. And we're going for the highest heights of bliss. And in the meantime, bringing peaceful presence to all of this. So I'm telling you to hang in there. Let yourself feel. Spend as much time in meditative moments as you can. Reconnect with one another. Feel the presence of the other inside yourself. Feel the presence of any person you're encountering. Allow yourself to feel. You're going to have to let guards down in order to do this. These are fears, not protections. There's a difference. Let go of the fear when you see it. When you understand you needn't fear your own feelings, nor what you're truthfully seeing, nor what's truthfully going on here. In other words, don't fear the truth, and the truth will set you free. It's really, really that simple. But at the same time, we deal with the complexity of our own psychology. And when you can see the invader within, or invaders as the case may be, some carry a lot of it, it makes it easier to deal with. Give it comfort, though it tries to create thoughts inside of you that are destructive. Give it comfort. Feel it. Don't deny it. Allow it to be. And help it change. Because you allow yourself to feel. It's this that creates the fear inside of this feeling. Of this reality. Baby, Don't let it happen that way any longer. Understand, we had to fulfill our term with it. It takes a lot of doing, but we had to fulfill that term. That's where we are, because we have fulfilled that term. We've gone through every little agony and ecstasy and the overwhelming guilt of ecstasy. We've done it, and we've not only survived it, we've thrived in it. And the fact that any living soul can get up and walk around and live and breathe is all the living proof you need. That's it. I mean, the fact that anybody has survived to this point, October 2011, is a major miracle in and of itself. Look at the world we live in, the wars we've been through, the diseases, the famines, the all of it, the interpersonal relationships crumbling, falling apart, the inability to find anything in life. You can solidly feel the great love and all that stuff. I mean, how many times are we disappointed and frustrated? I mean, just in the course of a day. And not to mention all of the terrible, deadly poisons that's been unleashed upon us worldwide. I mean, there's been these nuclear disasters of enormous proportions just in recent times with these meltdowns. There was, Chernobyl back in the 80s, and then this Fukushima or whatever it is out there in Japan, and oh my God, and the one they're not talking about in Omaha or Lincoln and over that way in Nebraska anyway, they got flooded out and melted down, and look at all. That's not to mention all the bombs they've set off. Radiation alone has been released upon this earth in sufficient levels to kill everything upon it, every living thing. Yet here we are, and that's not even to mention the stresses and strains of watching our freedoms go away, of the assholes try to take over the earth and rule it, and treat us all like cattle and slaves and stuff like that. Pretty privileged slaves, I'd say. We have it pretty good, even though we work our asses off. At least a lot of us do, anyway. Whatever it is you're doing enough, and you've done it, and you're there in that place where finally you can open and receive of who you are and make this transition. Take off the costume and the makeup. Appreciate the beauty of the work that you've done here. You can just understand. Just let yourself feel your way out of it. It's kind of like feeling your way down a dark alley in the dark, of course. But there's plenty of light there. The darkness is the illusion. So as you begin to feel, you begin to see the light, and then you know. And then you become far more conscious of yourself, and you're actually able to manipulate your reality in a very reasonable and pleasing way, not in the sense that you have to manipulate. But what I mean is create what you're going through and recreate what you've had, because now you see it from another level, another perspective. It's called a dimensional shift. So we go from one level of seeing things that's pretty confined, it's like a prison, to another level where we see our total freedom in it, and understand that nobody's taking it away. No matter what kind of condition we're in, we're free. We're not trapped in any particular place or thing, though it seems like it. Coyote medicine all the way around is the ultimate joke. The more we let ourselves feel, going through meditative states, bringing in the love, the light, letting it flow through us, the more we allow of that, the less we're going to see of untruths. and the more this changes. Now in the next few days, let's see, this is October 15th or 14th. In the next few days, tremendous upheavals on this earth. Not in a volcanic sense, but in a sense of societal breakdowns. We're already on the edges of tearing apart everything that's held this fabric together. And those who are in the know are already in places where they're going to be, and they're going to be protected. And there does not have to be this murder and mayhem that everybody has been so expectant as society crumbles and falls apart. It's not like that. It crumbles because it's no longer needed or necessary. The economy in particular, the thing called money, is on its way into the land of untruth. You know, what we've pretty much centered our lives on, whether we worship that money demon or not, it's still been a part of everybody from Mobutu in the jungle to the President of the United States and the Emperor of the universe and so forth. You know what I mean? It's like, it's been what's important here, and it's what's conditioned the life and put value on everything and no value on everything, and, you know, cause people to turn against one another. And so, though, you know, those conditions would have come about somehow if we hadn't used money. It was just a tool, a vehicle. But that tool's kind of worn out and getting kind of useless to us, so you're going to see the passing away of that, you know. In fact, when the big boys did this to themselves and shot down their two great big old towers in New York City with interior bombs, that was the big dollar sign in the sky taking a fall. It was the end of economy as we know it. The domination of Babylon is no longer, you know. So as we realize inside that our real needs and necessities are to take care of ourselves in more or less energetic ways, spirit ways, the ways of the heart, then, you know, we begin to be more generous with one another, and these things that have been hoarded and taken away are all given back, and every person on this earth is wealthy once again, and no one lacks for anything. Mainly because our needs change, and those that have prospered realize the futility of their ways and give up their demons, let them go. But you're going to have to be willing to give up some pretty deep-seated ones. I mean, there is like right down to the level of male and female. As pleasant and as trying as this situation has been, it's part of the untruth, you know. If you look inside yourself, you see, honestly, a need for the return to the mother, and that's what drives you sexually, you know, emotionally, in a number of ways. It's a very base and deep emotion. It doesn't take much to be aware of it. It's there constantly for most people. Some people have been able to put it away and not deal with it, but it's there just the same. But that's what we're here to see, kids. You know? It's letting go of the birth and the death. And it's seeing past that need for mama, because we got a mama, and she loves her children, and she'd never let us down, and we just have to let her know how much we appreciate her. So be sure when you go through your meditations and communications, this is what you're doing. And you know, Mama Earth will transition this smoothly, and we've got a lot of help, just be open to receive of it, no matter what form it comes, whether it's angelic, which to many people is not acceptable. I mean, can you imagine? I don't believe in angels. Well, if there's an angel there with you or two, man, just don't believe, just accept. Same with the ETs, because some of you are having contact with them. You know, a bunch of us here are shoo-ins that have been genetically altered to allow our substance to be more elevated so that we could inhabit the human body as a transitional being, a multi-dimensional one is capable of multi-dimensional travel and so forth. Not that anybody isn't, but it just allowed our higher self, our higher mind, to be a bigger part of our presence in this life. So we're called star beings. And there's many of us here. There was a bunch of them in my generation, and there's even more today. There's what they call indigo kids everywhere you look. These are kind of like hybrids, you know, but it's between the lower and the higher, which is really the same. So in other words, we're just working on equalizing it, helping bring the perspective to the higher perspective rather than the lower, because we've served our time in the lower. And so the more that are out here on the higher levels of consciousness, the more consciousness there can be. You know, owing to the 100th monkey syndrome and other similar situations, the herd mentality, as they call it. We're not really a herd, nor are we a tribe, nor are we a species even. We just simply are love living out its life in our various forms and loving every minute of it. So you're going to get a smack of consciousness as this change goes on. It's time for truth. The energy of love will no longer let you slide back or go backwards. You know, there's only what's up ahead, what's inside, what's real, and nothing else. So any changes you see in the outer world, especially these economic ones, don't panic or be afraid. Understand it's an adjustment. It's a normal part of the process. And look at the help we've had already. We've survived. We've thrived despite extreme difficulties and many curses placed on us. We've made it that far, and nothing's stopping us other than our own negativity, though, the stuff we feel inside. Feel that. Feel the fear. I mean, just embrace it. Thank it for its need to reconnect with its mother. Thank it for feeling so lost and alone and separate, so desperately so that it had to invade people and make them live out its torment. I mean, look at the truth. Evil is good. And good is evil. I mean, you gotta go there to this place where you can help it transform its behavior inside of yourself. And I'm telling you, if you do this, you'll never, ever feel rage again. Ever. Nor frustration. Nor pain. It will be a thing of the past. This I promise you. And it ain't just me making such promises, because you already know it's true inside yourself. Just take a look and see what's happened. And know, babies, that I love you. And even though I'm out here tormenting myself with long hours and long miles, I'm still there with you. I'm your old grandpa, and I love you. And you love me, and love is the perfect thing to be. Feel it. Love it. Redirect it towards the pain. And go deep. And you will find what you're looking for. And it comes from inside of yourself. It's not a male and female thing. No matter what form it comes to you. You can't fulfill yourself in another. unless you're fulfilled in yourself. That's just how it works. And then, when you find this here, some interesting gateways will open to you. And it will be a different world that we live in. I'm going to do one more in this series of transitions. I know this one's kind of long-winded, but it's a warm-up for what's happening. You're here, you're present, we've got this far. And in these next few weeks, we're going to finish. Don't have to wait for 2012. Be ready then to step inside yourself. Don't be afraid of anything going on around you. When you see that you are, go through the fear. Find the love. Find the joy. Don't be absent from it. You are the heart and the soul that you're looking for. You, inside yourself, represent every bit of life that's living anywhere, throughout the universes, the galaxies, the stars, and throughout this earth and all of her people. Her loving, living animals. Baby, it's exciting to see these changes happen. The more peaceful we become, in other words, the more understanding, the more we get it, the better off the animals are. The birds, the trees, the flowers, everything. Because we are the center of the universe. Its very center, its heart and soul. Each person living represents that and can share the ultimate peace with all that live and change our extension into this reality to reality, the living love in every presence. God, I love you. Don't mean to carry on so. Hope you can tolerate it. And babies, we'll see you next time here on the Grandpa Coyote Show, huh? Rap and roll, baby.